Hi, my name is Elizabeth Holzschuh, and I'm the Director of Epidemiology at the Johnson County Department of Health and Environment. Today, we're going to talk about our brand new dashboard update. Now, this is the third time we've come out with a new dashboard since the pandemic began, and the reason why we do this is because we know things in our community and around COVID-19 have changed over the last 18 months. So this time, what you're going to see when you go to our new dashboard is a brand new homepage. That homepage is going to have those key pieces of information that you need to know to understand how we're doing as a community around COVID-19. It will include our vaccination rates, so you can see that as soon as you come on our dashboard, and we'll also tell you where we are in terms of community transmission based on our incidence rate and our percent positivity. Now, you will find some changes around the way we calculate these two metrics, and the reason for this is we wanted to align with CDC. When we originally came out with our gating criteria over a year ago for schools, no gating criteria existed, nor did any community transmission levels. Since that time, CDC has come out with theirs, and so we wanted to make sure we aligned with that. Therefore, some of these changes include going from a 14-day incidence rate and percent positivity rate to a 7-day. And when you go on our website, you will see whether it's a high transmission, substantial, moderate, low, etc., and it will be clearly listed. So this front page is going to have those key metrics. You can go and explore the other pages. Almost all of the information that you have previously found will still be here, including some additional enhancements. One thing that you may have noticed is that KDHE has oftentimes reported more cases than Johnson County has on our dashboard. The reason for this is that they include probable cases in addition to confirmed. What that means is that probable cases are those that are antigen positive or are close contacts to somebody with COVID-19 who subsequently developed symptoms within 14 days of their last exposure. Up until this time point, Johnson County has only been producing numbers for those confirmed cases or those who test PCR positive. Now, on our case summary and our case demographic tabs on the new dashboard, you'll be able to toggle between confirmed cases only, probable cases only, or see all of them together. Again, this is being done to more accurately reflect the burden of COVID-19 on our community as well as to align with KDHE's numbers. A new feature on our case demographic tab is also a slider bar, so that if you're interested in what have our cases looked like in the last, say, 30 days, you can move that bar, and it's in the top left-hand corner of that tab, to look at just specific time periods. This will be a useful tool if you want to see how the pandemic looked in our community early on, say in March or April of 2020 compared to now. Another thing that you'll notice is that the number of deaths that Johnson County is reporting has increased by over 100 deaths. The reason for this is up until this time point, Johnson County has only been reporting deaths that have occurred in individuals who are PCR positive. The Office of Vital Statistics at Kansas Department of Health and Environment reviews every single death certificate that comes in, and they also are counting deaths that include COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2 as a contributing cause or significant factor that contributed to the death. This is in line with CDC and the Council for State and Territorial Epidemiologists case definition, and that way we are also aligning with KDHE again when it comes to the number of deaths that we are reporting. Other enhancements that have been included is on our vaccination tab. You'll actually be able to look at just 12 to 17 vaccine coverage rates by zip code. And this is incredibly important as we continue to monitor how that part of our population is getting vaccinated and how that affects our school districts. If you go to our schools tab on our new dashboard, you will find that it looks very different from the last schools tab that we had. But rest assured, the data still exists. Those graphs with the various colors telling you what level we are in as a community are now found on that very first tab, so the first tab you come to when you go to our dashboard. We've also removed the gating criteria that we used for the 2020-2021 school year as we have adjusted our recommendations around in-person learning for our school districts. We continue to have the same information that was present on our last dashboard around hospitalizations and deaths. A note about hospitalizations as this continues to come up. Johnson County Department of Health and Environment receives notification of patients hospitalized from certain hospitals in our region. Unfortunately, this is a manual process that requires individuals at the hospital to gather this information on a routine basis, send it over to Johnson County, and then for Johnson County to manually enter it into our system. Now, this doesn't always happen routinely or consistently or from all of our regional hospitals. When you're wanting to find out how hospitalizations look in Johnson County and in our metro region, we recommend that you go to Mark's COVID-19 hub and look at the hospitalization, as they are required to report daily to the federal government, and that information is then conveyed back to Mark. We continue to work very closely with our hospitals in order to have as complete a data as possible. However, due to staffing shortages at the hospitals as well as at Johnson County, we are not always able to get that information or get the dashboard updated as timely as we would like. If you're somebody who comes onto our dashboard every day, and I know there are a number of you, to see how many cases were just reported, you'll want to scroll down to our instance rate graph on that first tab, and you want to hover over the most recent time point, and that will tell you the number of new confirmed cases that were reported that day, as well as the number of probable cases that were reported that day. Additionally, this can also be found on our case summary tab. We at Johnson County strive to ensure that our residents are well informed around data surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic locally. We hope that these new updates will provide clearer information and the pertinent information quickly at your fingertips anytime you're interested in finding out how Johnson County is doing around COVID-19 transmission and vaccination.
For more information about COVID-19 in Johnson County, visit jocogov.org/coronavirus. You can also subscribe to an e-newsletter with the latest data and precautions being taken in the county and state.